Hello and good morning, and welcome to the second ever year of Campus Clash Generations. Now, I am joined on the hosting desk by the one and only Nathan.
excited for it to get underway, get everything going?
I am beyond excited. What about you?
Yeah, I'm really excited. Of course, second year of doing this myself. Obviously hosted last year's Campus Clash, ready for Generations and ready to see how it all gets underway and how it all unfolds.
It is. And shall we saw a little video there, but shall we introduce our teams once again?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. You know, obviously for level 6, the year that's representing myself and many of us in our final year here at Staffs Uni, we have, of course, got the level 6 Kingmakers, as well as, of course, the level 5 Flamebringers as well. You know, the Kingmakers. It kind of represents us, lot. You know, we're at the top. Everyone's kind of wanted to be like us, and you're hoping to become us. And then, obviously, we've got the rest of the years as well.
Flamebringers, do you know anything about that?
I believe, now this is the technological term for why. The logo had flames in it, so Flamebringers.
Flamebringer, yeah. You know what? I like it. I mesh with it.
I like it.
Very Staffs Uni, I think.
Oh, yeah, straight to the point. No need for anything else, really.
And then we have our level 3s and 4s, so our first years and foundation years, so brand new to the university, my year as well. And they are the Giant Slayers, you know, they're the young guns in, ready to try take the throne from you guys, really. And also, despite the fact that quite a lot of our year is older than yours, we are quite short.
Yeah, so
just generally, across the board.
Yeah, it really kind of sums up you guys, you know.
Yeah.
Hoping to become us, but you're still like half the height of us, which is quite funny.
Yeah, the desk is misleading. I am a lot shorter than Walker here.
My chair is quite low down.
Yeah. And then we have our SUL, our London campus. They are the Crown Guard.
I think
I'm not sure what they're guarding. What?
Crown Jewels,
the crown.
London.
Oh,
I like
so
it.
Smart.
Creative.
I didn't even think about that.
Creativity.
But yeah, so those are our teams for the next couple of days.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how they all play out. Of course, multiple different games, multiple different structures going to be seen throughout this year's Campus Clash generation. So, you know, you're inviting yourself into a lot of these battles, you know, and we're going to see some fierce rivalries flare up between a lot of our players. You know, there was some heated debates already early on, just from everyone getting into the mood, getting ready for the battles that we will see throughout these few days, and, you know, getting in the right mood, I guess.
Absolutely. And I know there's a lot of rivalry. There's been a running joke for a while about, you know, the feud between, you know, the London campus and the Stoke campus. It's been an age-old tale, one might say.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely going to be one that gets answered over this tournament. You know, we can have a look back at last Campus Clash. Although it had a slightly different format, we still had that battle between the Stoke campus and the London campus. We won't talk about it.
No,
too much.
I think we should. So can you tell us who won the last Campus Clash, the first Campus Clash?
Okay. Well, we're not gonna ruin anything, but technically London did win. However, there was some foul play from certain lecturers that we won't point out, but
the London production members are giving us very unhappy side eyes. But yeah, so London campus actually took first year, so they're here to try and defend their throne, really.
Which is possibly another reason. Guard their crown, which is probably why, again, makes sense.
Makes sense.
Creativity, guys, that's what we've learned. I mean, it kind of sums up what they need to sort of do for this sort of event. You know, it's all on them to protect this. They need to try and stop one of the other 3 years and try and defend their honour. It's
a little bit of an uphill battle because they our campus,
they're away.
We have 3 teams to try win, you know, and whilst we're competing against each other, and it is a very heated competition between the years, you know, there isn't that same level because they're battling against 3 teams to just get their campus, you know, up there, top 3.
I know, but with that, we are going to have a look at how things are all going to face up for this one. So we are going to be running a variety of different formats throughout this week and throughout the few days, but they all kind of take different forms. But the first game that we are going to have, well, the first sort of formats that we're going to look at is, of course, the round robin, the single elimination, and, of course, a double elimination. And then the overall format of Campus Clash Generations will follow a Coliseum. So we can have a little bit of a deeper dive into them. So, of course, round robin, kind of straightforward. Teams will play each other an equal amount of times, kind of similar to a league format.
Yeah.
And then the team who has the highest number of wins will obviously place higher. And then for tiebreakers needed for the likes of Valorant and League of Legends, Valorant will be decided due to the number of rounds won. And League of Legends will be down to the lowest amount of time needed to achieve victory. So good ways to kind of decide them kind of standard procedures when tiebreakers are needed within those games.
Absolutely. And I believe we're going to look at our next format, which is our single elimination. So these are all going to be best of 1 series. Although Overwatch 2 will also be a best of 3 because I think the game's quite short. Once the teams are eliminated, so if they lose their game, they are out. Well, Yeah.
They head to
They
that
head to
third, fourth playoff, which will allocate them points, of
allocate
course,
them points. Yeah.
which is critical. That's what you've kind of got to remember with the Coliseum style of this tournament and with Campus Clash. You need to be getting points. You never want to be coming fourth. You always, even if you end up in that third, fourth playoff, you've got to be aiming to just get those extra points at a minimum.
It does mean that you have to win every single one of your games if you want to play top.
Exactly.
And get the most number of points for your teams. And there will be a finals for those games as well. That's just how it works. And then we've got a double elimination. Do you want to take that one away?
I mean, yeah, it kind of follows a similar sort of process. You know, best of one series until the grand finals, with Smash being a best of three. Once two teams are eliminated, again, they follow that third, fourth playoff. The competition winner ends when the loser in the upper bracket winners final, or have an undefeated team, I guess, is the way that it could also be worded. And then the loser's bracket winner will determine the second final, which is the grand final, and that will decide the overall winner as such. So, you know, if you keep winning games, that's all that really matters. But, you know, you do have that redemption arc in a double elimination bracket.
Absolutely. Now, what else is there to talk about? Because our first game of the day, I do believe, is it Overwatch?
Yeah, it's FIFA.
FIFA, sorry, my bad. I remember because I was talking to, we have some of the lecturers are actually taking part in this. And I was talking to Josh Ferguson before the game starts.
Yeah.
And so we will be starting today off with FIFA, I believe it is.
Yeah.
And that is starting very shortly, actually. So we've got our players warming up for that now. I do believe that there are going to be multiple games going on at once. So not for FIFA, sorry, but throughout the day there'll be multiple games going on at once. But we will try stream all teams. So shortly after the FIFA, we'll be going on to the Valorant, as we said, best of ones. Later in the day, Rainbow Six Siege, followed up by League of Legends. So really sort of jam-packed, full of many different games.
Yeah, we're getting the heavy hitters very early on, which is quite an interesting way to do it. You know, having the likes of Valorant and League of Legends in the same day. You know, you focus on the Riot half of the esports titles, and you know, they kind of appeal to a mass different sort of audience. You've got that TAC FPS shooter as well, and then having Siege as well to kind of round that out, and then having FIFA, you know, sports game, one of my personal favourites as well. So I'm excited for what we've got ahead for us today.
Couple of shooter games in there as well. So we've got our Valorant, we've got our Rainbow Six Siege. Very not similar games. I mean, actually they are kind of. More tactical on the side of Valorant, maybe.
Yeah.
But a lot of shooter games, but good variety. I think we've got our sports game, we've got our MOBA, because everyone's got to have a MOBA these days.
True, very true. But you know, we can't be forgetting our wonderful sponsors for this year's Campus Clash and for Campus Clash Generations. Of course, that will be Noble Chairs, Ducky Keyboards, and the ever so wonderful Sweet Cameron as well. We want to thank all of those for helping us be able to put on this year's Campus Clash. And I think the key thing that we now got to look to, Lena, is that first match of FIFA between the level 3 or 4s, the Giant Slayers, and of course SUL Crown God. An exciting one, a battle of the ages. London coming into this kind of quietly confident. They have a lot of backing of that. Of course, it's going to be a battle with one of the lecturers, so that will be Cameron taking on the bearing of that, and he'll be leading that for them. So excited to see how he gets on in their first game against what I believe is, you know, a fairly even sort of matchup early on.
Absolutely. Now, as we talked about, Cameron, a lot of history with Campus Clash, a veteran, you might say.
Yeah, Cameron obviously having a lot to do with how the event kind of started. You know, it was based down in London last year, led London's side of it from the lecture side. Had a lot to do with him myself personally, and if he loses FIFA, I'll be quite happy.
Will you? Do you expect him to lose FIFA?
From what I've been hearing
on
the grapevine, Cameron isn't the most confident in his title. He was silently hoping for one of his other London students to take this off his hands, but to no avail to him, so he's been shoveled in to play FIFA. So from an early prediction, I mean, I'm not going to throw anything out. We're gonna allow that to the casters and all that. But you know, it's going to be a very interesting battle between these two. Obviously, the way that these games will work, they're slightly shorter paced FIFA games. They're not your typical sort of structure, so it's only going to be 3 minutes half. So we've got that short, snappy FIFA to be played. So it's very important to get the most out of your game when you're playing.
A little bit of a shame if you're a FIFA fan. You're not going to get to see much, unfortunately. But lots of games back to back, you know. So if you're not a fan of FIFA, it'll be over very quickly. If you are a fan of FIFA, we've got games for you after the other. So it's gonna be good, I think.
Yeah, it's gonna be a really kind of interesting bout between that. You know, every sort of year has their sort of standard favorite game, and you know that each year has that sort of focus on one. Especially, I feel for level 5 and level 3 and 4. the Flamebringers and the Giant Slayers, they each game they have that sort of niche focus and one person who has that real specialty, and they're the two that I'm really looking at to see how they come out and get that early start. You know, first game of the day, first game of the entire series of the tournament as a whole, they need to come out swinging.
Absolutely, a big one to start with, but I don't think it's our jurisdiction anymore. I think we should send it over to the eyes in the sky, the men on the ground, Connor and Ian, to take it away on the casting deck.
Thank you to our lovely hosts over on desk. I am Connor Johnston, joined here by the amazing Eon, and we're here to bring you that FIFA gameplay. And you know, it's the king sport, the fantastic sport, the thing that everyone loves to see. We just had the Premier League wrap up, we just had the FA Cup wrap up. I think there's some women's tournaments going on, so they're very important as well. But
I believe the Women's Champions League's just finished.
Well, I haven't really followed that, but you know, we're following the real game, the big game, the campus clash between the level 3 and 4 and the London. So we have got the, I'm going to say Sure Shots. They've got a really long name, so I'm just going to take the Sure Shots. Let's keep it short. And then Cameron going by Psyduck. So, you know, maybe a bit out of his pond, you know, going with this sort of vibe, going with FIFA. We did hear from our host, you know, not too confident going forward to FIFA. But FIFA's one of those games where if you basically know the bare minimum playing a sports game, you can play FIFA. You know, you press your A button to pass, your B button to shoot, Y to lob, all that fandangle stuff. You might see maybe Sure Shots go for those more trick shots like rainbow flicks. But, you know, Cameron might just try and outwit them, but just play it safe and sure. You know, is a West Ham fan, so I guess West Ham, you know, a couple of comments there, but I'll leave that for the gameplay. So what do you think we're going to see from our players today?
I'm hoping to see that the level 4s come out with aggression. I'm hoping to see confidence from them, being a level 4 myself. I'm hoping to get out the gate swinging. But we've got to think Psyduck has the experience, Cameron. Obviously, one of the lecturers, you have to assume he's played a lot of FIFA, even if he's not the best at it. So you have to assume he's going to take that experience, probably a tactical awareness, and try and just keep them down early.
Yeah, keep them down early. Like, I do believe Cameron's a lot more common with like more of like the games like League and like a lot of the FPS sort of games. So you got to have that accuracy, that reaction. So maybe FIFA can come into that, like find that perfect pass, seeing a second a through ball can come through, go do a free ball, do a bit of libero, a bit of tit for tat, and then just get it into the net. And that could be very overwhelming. Like a lot of these games, you know, you can translate some of the skills, but not all of them. So it'd be nice to see that. Nice to see the reaction of, oh, I've seen an opening, I can react to that. And if my opponent's a bit slower, because FIFA is a lot of I guess not the slowest game, but it's a bit slower than other games can be. So the speed and pace of, you know, an FPS player, a League player, all that jazz can really dominate and then push through and just find those openings and find those goals. Similar to like normal football, where you have the underdogs come through, like Luton coming through and winning the championship, for example.
Playoffs, yeah. So with the 3-minute halves as well, you have to understand that they don't have a lot of time to waste, so they're going to be as direct as possible, even with the passes. So I'm expecting to see a lot of through balls, maybe a lot of lobs over the back of the defence, and maybe just try and push on a counter-attack. Just try and utilise those 3 minutes per half to the maximum advantage.
Yeah, that'd be very good to see. And of course, you know, talking about that, we can think about formations as well, because of course you got Cameron playing for the Crown Guard. Do you think he's going to stick true to name and go for a very defensive play, maybe 5 at the back or a tight 4 at the back, maybe a wide 4 to really cast that offside trap very, very far, and then playing it as shorter at the front? You know, if you keep your front players narrow, you can get wrapped around, you can put pressure down quite quickly and easily. Of course, we have the Giant Slayers. You know, again, coming out to that Luton mentality, do you think maybe we'll see like maybe an underdog team, maybe it has like those 1 or 2 players that are fast paced or have like a really bulky defense, and it's like, oh, I can just sit here and like let them run at me and my defenders will do the action, or their defenders can be as thick and defensive as possible, but I can just run like the fastest underrated striker in the world at them and then score a cheeky tap in.
Well, we saw like back in like FIFA 13 days, the likes of Victor Abarbo being such a meta dominant player. As we see coming into the game, we've got PSG mirror match, so we're going to see a lot of 4-3-3s to utilise Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe. Really just try and dominate the going forward with a 4-3-3, and just try and get goals early.
Trying to get goals early, you know, as you said, going with that double PSG play. So going for that, you know, we're going across the river a little bit, we're going across the channel, we're going to see, you know, even though we're both English teams, seeing 2 French teams going at it. Of course, Paris Saint-Germain, very, very well known for their strong players. You got players like Messi, who came on for a long time. You got players like Neymar on them. I don't really follow French football as too much. You know, a lot of people say it's a farmers league, but saying that straight away, that goal comes in, and I do believe that was from Cameron. So Verratti getting that goal.
Marco Verratti, one of those underrated midfielders. We talk about the French league not necessarily being the strongest league anymore. PSG did just win the league, but just by 1 point this season. We see Messi straight back on the counter attack, trip over the box. But Donnarumma, again, one of the best keepers in the world. PSG can afford to play these players that dominate in every single position. Like across the board, you see superstars everywhere.
Yeah, it's one of those superstar teams where you pump it full of money, you pump it full of players, you pump it full of the best coaches, everything. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. And in FIFA, that doesn't really matter because yes, you can have the best players, but it comes down to everything. You have Verratti running up the field though, does go through to Messi. Messi doing a few tricks, getting it round, wrapping through the defense, and this is exactly what I was saying earlier. With just play a super fast striker to just rip through any defense, and as you see, just continuing going around the box. Do you believe that Cameron Vitana getting the ball through and just completely ripping it, not getting a goal in yet, which is very, very detrimental in this style of play when you've got 3 minutes. But when you're a goal up, you can be a bit tricky. You can mess about. You can be either hyper defensive or hyper offensive and get it through. But we do see that Sure Shots has ripped through and using Mbappe to run up that wing. We could see a repeat. I'm seeing a lot of the side plays going, crossing it in, trying to catch it off guard from the top and above. Verratti comes through, but misses it. But then does need to slip in, but is quickly swept up by Cameron to make it a safe play.
This is going to be one of those things where PSG have an advantage on the wing, doesn't even if it's the mirror match, because it's not just Messi, Mbappe, Neymar. They also have the likes of Achraf Hakimi as the wing back, just playing that sort of wing back role, both aggressive on defense and offense. So yeah, just try and get early balls in would be my suggestion to the teams, and just don't waste time. We've seen Neymar coming through. Neymar, just a corner kick now to, I believe it's Cameron. We're going to see how they utilise these new set pieces from FIFA 23. Donnarumma comes out. Penalty shouts could have been had there. Very aggressive plays from the keeper as we see them just try and reset the ball, reset the momentum, and try and build from the back.
Yeah, trying to build from the back. Cameron having that solid defensive back line, but going straight in from a throw-in, goes up the side, and Verratti has it just on the wing and can take it all the way. There's lots of options in the box to cross to, but will he go all the way for the goal himself? Does a cheeky skill and goes through, and just a lovely save by Donnarumma, just crumbles it and saves it. But I do believe there was a bit of foul play there. We did cut to a separate cam. Let's see what happened there, and it is just a quick pause. Our players deciding to take a little break, maybe going for a substitution, maybe going, trying to reassess players.
It was half-time. We see if Verratti just shot there, that would have been an easy 2-0 lead going into the half. But just 1-0, it's still all to play for in this first game.
Still all to play for, exactly. And we see Cameron is still dominating on that first. Gets it to Vitana, and it's going to go through. And I do... It is Mbappe getting it through. Mbappe is open for a shot. And takes a wonderful curler, a Bobby Dazzler, some may say, and gets it straight in the net. 2-0 to Cameron with a lovely 50th minute Mbappe goal.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Get that 2-0 lead. It gives you a defence. It gives you a sort of layer to sit on. Hakimi coming down the wing now. That's what I was saying earlier. Hakimi playing that aggressive wing back style.
Mbappe getting another one.
Another finesse shot, 3-0, and that's got to be over.
It surely is over. And Cameron, taking this second half and just completely dominating. Now the ball's on Messi. In real life, Messi is just going to run up that wing, get a couple of goals. Won the World Cup quite recently with a few goals like that. But, we see, though, we have got Sure Shot trying to get a couple plays back. I'm not quite sure how they're going to work this, if this is the round robin, if it's going to go on the goal difference or anything. But we'll see. But Verratti has got it going through. It goes through, plays it straight in, not offside. Mbappe open for another goal. Just fumbles it at the foot of the goalkeeper. And a lovely, lovely clean up from Sure Shot so to make sure it's away from the goal. Stopping Cameron getting more goals, making it less of a humiliation this time round, and getting quite close. And Neymar could possibly take out the wing and go for another goal himself, or just throw it in. But Hakimi stops that straight in its tracks and going for a goal kick.
Yeah, as we said, the front three of Messi, Mbappe, and Neymar is such an aggressive force in both football and especially on FIFA, where they're some of the highest rated players in the game. And it looks like both players are taking advantage of that. It's just Sure Shot's defence has been woeful in this first game.
Sure Shot has not had the defence.
It's been Hakimi, Verratti, and Mbappe just feeding each other, and constant pressure from Cameron.
Yeah, Cameron is showing his pressure straight away as well. Sergio Ramos getting that. Neymar coming straight through, getting the ball in the box. It's a dangerous area to let Neymar have the ball, but goes for a little 1-2. Tries to get the sweaty goal, but doesn't quite get it. Doesn't pay off fully, but still stays in the opposing half. Mendes taking it through, and now Sure Shots is getting quite close, but Cameron is staying defensive on that halfway line, keeping it very, very safe. Verratti getting the ball back up again, going straight in to Neymar again. Neymar getting some tricks in the box. Oh, Cameron playing a bit cheeky there, going to Mbappe for another goal. I believe it's a hat-trick from Mbappe,
Hat-trick
and
from
hits the
Mbappe
gritty.
Just in this half alone, Mbappe's got the hat-trick. It's been a complete domination in this half. But the first half, yeah, it's pretty close between the two sides. Cameron's just full steam ahead in this second half.
Full speed there, getting a bit cheesy as well, that gritty as a celebration. We've seen a few gritties around the studio the past couple of days, but, seeing it in FIFA, in video games, it hits a little bit harder, it burns a bit more. It's like a childish taunt, but childish taunts aren't what goes for them. Mbappe goes for another shot, just saved by Donnarumma, and I believe that it's going for a corner. It is. So a set piece is where we've seen a lot of these goals come from. Could we see another one come from it? See Cameron whips it in, doesn't quite get it, but still stays in the edge of the box. Verratti controlling it nicely, getting it to Marquinhos, who can quite easily whip it in and see where it goes now back force. It does fall back to the defending team.
Yeah, we see, again, Hakimi been this MVP sort of player for Cameron here, because it's allowed, like, Hakimi's defensive play on that wing has just allowed constant counterattacks and constant pressure to get the ball to Neymar and Messi to feed Mbappe.
Yeah, feeding Mbappe, and Neymar and Mbappe just playing it, and Cameron executing that perfectly, getting a 5-0 win. I believe it was 3 or 4 of those goals came in the second half, so playing very defensively in the first half, making sure that, he was like, I'll get that one goal. That's something you can do in these 3-minute games. One goal in, play defensively. In the second half, you can try and push a bit more offensively, because you've already got that one goal. If you slip up one, it goes to a draw. There's going to be extra time towards the end, or you can just get another goal, because if you act quite quickly, your opponent can't really retaliate if it's goal in, goal out, goal in. It's just, everyone has a goal, but then if you got that first goal, you have that artificial boost, because it's you have that pressure of I can score a goal quickly, I can do it again.
Well, that's the thing. We saw going into the half, it was just 1-0, so it was still all to play for. Really, it's just taking that quick momentum was just the key for Cameron. Getting that quick early goal in the second half just took the momentum completely away from sure shots, and it was complete domination from there. 3 goals from Mbappe, 1 goal from, I think, Neymar, and another from Verratti in the first half. 5-0 win. Great start for London.
Yeah, it's a great start for London. Maybe thinking, we won last year. We can bring it back this year. I don't believe we had FIFA last year, so maybe it's a bit of a refresher. It could be like, oh yeah, you stomp in the first game, but you played 2 PSG teams. If you clash 2 things ahead of each other that are the same, everything will have an equal and opposite reaction to it. So if you throw in the likes of Messi against Messi, someone's going to have that victorious moment. It wasn't, albeit it was a 5-0 whitewash. I don't believe it was completely ruined. I think there was the opposition there. They were opting to be like, I'll throw myself at you. And all those goals came from slight slip-ups that might have just been down to the AI, because the goalkeeper is sometimes a bit determined by AI, and sometimes it just comes down to that bit of luck. We said about Cameron having the ability to pass through and find those quick reactions. That's where a lot of the games came from. Acting quickly. If it worked, it worked. If it didn't, he had another quick reaction to follow up with, to then say, okay, take a shot, save, bounce off, take a shot, and it's or just pass it to a safer situation. And when there was the offensive play, Cameron reacted just as quickly to be defensive himself, and be like, okay, just wrap my defense around the halfway line and just stop you getting any further than that. If you slip through, my goalkeeper will keep me safe.
Well, as I mentioned before the game, because we've only got 3-minute halves, it was important to find these key direct balls. So when Sure Shots was trying to go on the counter attack, it left the back line with holes in it that was able to be just completely abused by Cameron's front 3 of Messi, Mbappe, Neymar, and yeah, there's just those through balls, the direct passes from Hakimi especially, just really allowed Cameron to dominate that second half.
He did dominate, but I would like to look at how the goals were scored. Because the first one, I'd say that was quite easily just a tap-in. They tapped it in quite softly, quite easily. The second couple, when Mbappe was coming from, they were quite easily whipped round, and they came from very unorthodox situations and positions in the field. And Neymar, again, was just doing a couple of tricks. I think Cameron took a little bit greedy and was like, you know what, I've got 4, I'll go for 5. And if you need someone to do that, it's going to be Neymar. And, we have to see if our players can replicate that in our future games, because we believe they're coming up quite soon. So is there anything you're looking forward to in our next games? We saw, Cameron take on PSG versus PSG. Do you think that's a gentleman's agreement? Everyone plays PSG. Everyone will play the same teams, don't play the same teams. Actually, I do believe our teams are up on the screen, so I did speak ahead of myself. So we have got Aston Villa versus Spurs. In our rehearsal yesterday, I did quite a few comments about Spurs, so they might come out. Aston Villa, I haven't really got many comments about them.
I have a lot of comments about Aston Villa. I'm a Villa fan, so I know this team in and out. I think it was a great season from them in real life, getting that 7th place after the awful start to the season. So I'm trying to see if if we see a similar formation, because Villa do have a couple of good wingers that can use to their potential on FIFA, the likes of Coutinho, Bailey, could even see like the likes of Bertrand Traore being used to try and feed Ollie Watkins using through balls. And yeah, with the Spurs side of things, it'll be just trying to make sure that the defensive line isn't as bad as it was in real life this year, so they can fully utilise the goal scoring machine that is Harry Kane. You got Heung-min Son as well, Dejan Kulusevski. Just they've got good offensive firepower on both sides.
They have got a lot of offensive power, and let us not haste like our players. They shouldn't be, because our game is shortly coming up. Of course, that Premier League action we do see. I don't quite remember how Spurs versus Villa went in the actual Premier League, but this is the real deal. This is like FIFA esports at the Campus Clash. I want to see just, because Spurs didn't really have the best season this year. They kept going into a championship, into a European spot, out of a European spot, into a European spot, out of a European spot. So maybe as considerations, you'd be like, you know what, you didn't get into Europe, but I'm going to get you a Campus Clash trophy. The first of many in a while, may I add, for that team. But, let's not keep those close too far. Of course, Aston Villa, they did just quite recently come from the Championship. They had a middling season, I think, but, that's real-life football. I can't remember what Spurs managers call it this time. There's so many of them. But
Unai Emery is the current Villa manager.
That's
Former
right.
Arsenal manager as well, so there's that little bit of London rivalry there against Spurs. Villa, of course, in real life, doing the double. Can we see if they get a third win over Spurs this season?
Hopefully they can do it, and I will say it'll be a very good win as well for Josh, who is playing for level 6, because he is a Villa fan through and through. Don't let the colours fool you from our little setup we have, where it is orange and black. It has the very much Wolves colours, one of the other Birmingham teams, but, beggars can't be choosers of that. And, of course, we see the lineups coming on through. Spurs going for a very similar... You got Højbjerg, you got Bissouma, you got Bentancur, you got Danjuma, you've got good old Kane and Son up the front, so you've got the Hurricane, and you've got the Korean legend himself. He had an amazing run in the World Cup as well, and he's one... These players are the sorts I was talking about earlier, where if you got that one striker who can just punt it in, get a goal, and you have a very technical striker like Sonny, you can do very, very well, because, even if you've got a strong defence like Villa have, you can then just play super, super strong with that. And Villa is the same. Like I said about Ollie Watkins, once you get the ball fed for him, you can do very good. But as we see straight into this game, we do have... I do believe it's Embo for level 5 on the Spurs. It's just wrapping around Josh like a ring on a finger and getting straight into their half, but Josh keeping it quite nice, saving it, and then getting it through as we just is a feed through to Bailey, but quite easily saved by Dier, and pull it straight back up to the other side of the file.
It's worth noting that Spurs are adopting the 4-1-2-1-2, so it's given them a lot of midfield pressure. We see Kane taking that power shot, Martinez saves. But yeah, as I said, 4-1-2-1-2, it's pretty much been the adopted meta formation for FIFA the past few years, because it just gives you so much advantage in that midfield. It's alternate variant of a 4-4-2, but it's given those two midfield players in the two to give them both the opportunity to play as defensive and attacking players. They're box-to-box midfielders, which I think Spurs can utilise well.
Yeah, Spurs can show that well. I'm a fan of the 4-1-2-1-2. I always push. It's nice to have you got the mini diamond in the middle where you got defenders, like a semi CDM, your two central mids, and then your semi central attacking mid. But they can still pull back and form the 4-4-2, which can be very, very good in casting that net of defense. But that defensive net has been broken. It's a lovely little turnaround from Josh. He gets in the box, takes a shot, amazing. Well, it's amazing getting through, but a good goal going through as Villa do take the lead alongside level 6. And, it's one of those tap-ins we saw Cameron get in the last game, where it's just, get into the box, get into a weird position, and if you can get the right angle, just tap it in. Wasn't quite the curler we saw from Mbappe, but still something to go with. But straight off into the gameplay, we see how Spurs, via Embo, will retaliate as they go straight up the wing, but stopped in their tracks by Young on the side there.
It was a great goal from Leon Bailey using a finesse move. And I think this is one of those things where we can see the difference between how FIFA and real life plays out. Because obviously in real life, Leon Bailey had a middling season. But if you see on FIFA, he's one of the most promising attackers to play on offline FIFA. As we see McGinn going through, carving his way through the defence, but Lloris, another one of the best keepers in the Premier League, just easy save there for Lloris.
Yeah, Lloris making an easy save. Like, he's one of those keepers you can't get quite easy things past. He's going to be happy to take anything. You know, there's been a couple of things that have slipped him up, but you know, normally he is a solid wall to go straight through. Oh, lovely strike was saved, and another shot going through as a cheeky little volley from return, but Sun doesn't quite make it and goes straight back into play with Young, playing it up the wing, and with Sun hot on his heels. Gets stopped in the tracks by Sun, so Ember has that play to go forward again. The Jamba goes through. Kane is in the box, and Kane loves the position, but does a lovely save there as well. So Kane has been stopped twice, but two corners have been won by this as Sun whips it straight in, stopped defensively by Villa, but another lovely shot, and goes right over the crossbar. Oh.
As we mentioned with Lloris, being one of those best keepers in the league, you have to understand Emi Martinez has become one of the best keepers in the world. Obviously winning the World Cup with Argentina is source of a lot of speculation about whether he'll go to a Champions League club, maybe, or whether he'll stick with Villa. As we see Bailey coming through down the wing, it's interesting they're using Young instead of Matty Cash, just due to the pace differential. As we see Watkins getting the shot off, easy stop from Lloris there. But yeah, interested they're using Ashley Young for the right back position, as I think there could be a disparity, but if Son can pass through the partnership of Konza and Mings, it's going to be very difficult to get back and cover using Ashley Young rather than Matty Cash. As we come into the second half now, see early long ball up to Kane.
Lob, and Kane just offside. But yeah, as you're saying about Young, yeah, it could just come down to that personal preference, or maybe it's that case of using unorthodox players that you don't see often in real football or FIFA in general to outwit your opponent. Maybe there's obviously a player has better speed, better skill, better everything. But it could be that one stat that it has higher than the rest of them that Young really puts the effort in with. If you see Kamara go through and doesn't quite make it in, and didn't quite see that. It goes for a corner. You see Douglas Luiz getting out to whip it in. Spurs had a couple of corners they haven't scored from, but Villa are up and they take another shot and just goes wide of the goal, giving Lloris a lovely little free kick to open up the play again and plays it short. And Dia does go ahead and gets it through. Bissouma gets it on, goes to Sessegnon, who on the edge, and lovely little header to Bentancur, but stopped in the tracks. And then, there was a free kick awarded there. So a nice position for Spurs to be on that halfway line. Sessegnon gets it right through. Kane is rearing for it, doesn't quite get it, and McGinn gets it on. And McGinn is on a lovely run and can, but stopped in the tracks by Porro, and Porro can quite safely take it down that wing and try and find Kane again or Son at the front. As you see, Ramsey just plays it off to keep it safe.
It's one of those top-heavy lineups for Spurs right here. So they're going to try and get the ball up to those two parts as possible. If Mings and Konza just neutralise these two threats, I really don't see a way Spurs are getting through. Because I don't have the belief in the current attacking lineup here. As we see Young going through, gets easily stopped by Dyer there. Go to Danjuma to Son to Kane. This is their chance.
Kane takes a shot,
and
it's
a
a
great
lovely
from
screamer
Kane.
from the outside of the box. So, you kind of had that bit of a caster's curse on there. You're saying, they're not going to make it through. Kane dropping himself back, going for a little bit of a flop, the 60th minute. And we're seeing a parallel from our last game, where it was Cameron got that goal, and it was like, bam, 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 score goals. This is a very defensive play. Both players are like, okay, Josh has got a goal, so he's playing defensively to stop the goal from him. But if he gets offence, he's pushing forward. But, we're also seeing with Embo, with Spurs, he's playing defensively, but also trying, if I get a goal, now you have to go defensively to force a tie or to try and make me slip up and then go for that goal. Bentancur plays out to Porro as we continue on the flow of play. And we do see that the Spurs are keeping it safe in their own half. Does go for a nice long pass, but Son doesn't get it. Young is able to scoop it up, get it through to Douglas Luiz, who gets it through to Kamara, who gets it through. Morano now on the side and getting it through to Ramsey. Ramsey is in a nice clean position to cover any pass. Watkins, that goal scorer, has got it, but doesn't quite make it through. I do believe that might have been offside there. Goes straight back to Lloris to continue the play.
Yeah, just offside there. It was a nice idea from Villa. It was just a rough timing on the pass to McGinn. I think if they would have just took the shot, they could have possibly had a much better chance of getting through, avoiding the offside. Son's coming through, but easily stopped by Konza there. Goes through to McGinn. Bailey for the counter-attack. Just going to hold the ball up, and Sessegnon intercepts.
Sessegnon gets an intercept and gets it straight back to Kane, who gets it into Son, who gets it back to Kane. A lovely little 1-2. Kane goes for a shot and just whiffles it, but it goes through, and I do believe that corner is going to go through due to the goalkeeper getting quite touched. We are seeing a substitution, Coutinho coming on, and we see Bentancur is going to be taking the corner this time instead of Son. whips it in, goes straight through to Dyer, who gets a slight touch, and it doesn't quite make it through, though. An amazing defensive play there. Bailey be able to take it out of the box, get it into that safe zone, where we can see Josh maybe going for, a lovely bit of skill to get it around. Watkins is now on a free run. It's down to Lloris, and a lovely little chip, and it just goes on through. What a great goal there coming from Josh through Ollie Watkins, bringing that second goal in.
That's got to be the game right there. We're on 90 minutes on the clock. Watkins, great chip shot over the ball, but it was that run from Bailey, getting past Bentancur, getting past Paro. Could have been fouled there, could have called for the foul, but it was just a constant counter-attack that Villa have specialised in this season.
Yeah, they're specialised. With 3 minutes on the clock, 2 of them are already down. I don't think as much can be do. Villa are out for blood, though, and just dominating. Crossing it straight on into the field. A lovely bit of defensive play, trying to soften the blow a little bit more. But Josh taking a 2-1 win with Villa. You know, Embo, you're doomed from the start. You picked up Spurs. Not the worst team, but, you know, it's one of those teams where in FIFA, because they're like the good team, the top team, they're going to be easy to predict. They're going to be easy to like wrap around, and once you work out the things, like we saw with Josh going with something like the less obvious plays with Young on the wing, something like that can slip up these top teams. So it's like, oh, I've got a dominant team, but that one change, that one stat, that one anything different can really confuse them and give you that way to push forward. As we saw Josh just using Young to get up the wing, get it to Watkins, and Watkins got 2 amazing goals, 1 tap in and 1 lovely chip towards the end.
I think what I've noticed in these games is that, particularly in the last one, there was a lot of corners being taken, but because I don't think these players are quite fully used to the new corner kick mechanics, I'm not sure they're fully utilising those to potential, and they're missing a lot of chances that they could otherwise get with just like standard plays. Just try and avoid set pieces is what I would say going forward for the rest of these players.
Yeah, try to avoid set pieces. Like, you know, that maybe could have been a style both players were going for. Maybe they were quite knowledgeable and they were trying to force those situations. Maybe we had one of the players was trying to say, okay, I'll force a set piece, trying to think, I know set pieces, but you don't know set pieces in this game. Or maybe they're both players were like, you know, we're bluffing each other and we're actually wanting those set pieces to say, I've scored a few set pieces in this new version of FIFA. I'm going to get a few of them again. I'm going to get a few more now. And I don't think the goals came from any straight set pieces, but there were cases where the corner came in that caused disruption and disarray that allowed the players to then get their goals. Like that first Watkins goal, the second one, sorry, where it came in from, I believe, a throw-in or like a short corner, and then it just allowed Josh to abrupt the defensive play, get straight down, and just go for that lob where there's no defenders anywhere because everyone was busy taking on the top half. But of course, you know, in the case of when we saw Spurs do it, a lot of them were very, very close. It just came to, if it was a whisker below the bar, it would have gone in. That could have been easily 2, 3, maybe even 4 goals for Spurs there.
Yeah, very, very easily could have been if they just took those chances a little better. Again, Emi Martinez is one of the toughest keepers in the world to play against, not only in real life but on FIFA. Just very high rated, particularly in this Villa squad, which typically isn't as high rated as Spurs, because again, I don't think anyone was really expecting them to be as high as they were this season. Spurs, obviously one of those supposed big 6 teams, with high rated players across the board. Eric Dyer, the defence is still a bit suspect, so going forward, if players do pick Spurs, they have to understand that they need to get goals early because the defence is not the best.
It's not the best, but like, well, I don't think it's not the best. I like to call Spurs like one of those like bits and bobs teams where you have lots of players to fill in every role. You just got to find who has the best cohesion. Like oftentimes, you know, it could be down to injury, it could be down to personal preference. You have certain players who you'll play them. Like maybe you could have seen a tactic of playing the less orthodox Spurs defenders. I don't quite follow Spurs too much to know who they normally have there, but maybe trying to they just have a lot of players for each position, trying to switch things out. And that could have been something that could have been focused on, could have been a benefit, you know, to play around. But as you said, you know, you can go for those bits and bobs, but at the same time, it can sometimes weaken the defense because you could think you've got that perfect combo, but then maybe someone's a bit too fast. Someone's got like you got like 2 really physical defenders and 2 really fast defenders, and then you got them in the wrong places, and it's like everything's all mishmashed and it doesn't really work when you go with that. And if you have a fast striker, you know, you can need to get around those fast defenders who are trying to be as fast as them. And if you've got a slower physical defender, if you can lob over them or you can quickly, you know, skill around them, they're not going to be very happy.
Well, as we saw with that last goal, Leon Bailey just cut it through the entire team just purely on pace alone. So again, like you need to have that balance between strength and speed because slow defenders are going to get caught out by these fast wingers, faster strikers. because, again, 3 minutes on the clock, you have to be direct with this. So, again, just they have to be direct. So going into this next game, like PSG versus Spurs, I see a very mismatched team here. I do think the Crown Guard, if they get off to an early start, they get one goal, it's going to be tough for them to go back into this.
Yeah, we'll see if Cameron goes to those same tactics. We did see, of course, last time with Embo with Spurs, they did play very defensively and waited for their goal to come, rather than Cameron, who just was straight out throwing the ball towards the net and trying to get it in. But we do see actually a bit of a change of play, because we have got Embo with Spurs actually going a bit more offensive, not overly, but playing quite safe at the back. Emerson Royale gets it on through. Kane gets a hold of it, goes through. We do see it go straight in for Højbjerg. Doesn't quite make it through, but a lovely corner to be going for this early.
Well, we've already seen the adjustment in formation. It's allowing more attacking presence on the field, bringing in Kulusevski, bringing in even Perisic. It's just going to allow for more aggression from Spurs, which I don't think we saw in that last game enough of from Embo. It's just it's going to be very tough for them on the counter attack, both going forward and going back, because PSG have such fantastic players. As we see, Son gets through Donnarumma, doesn't get past Donnarumma. Donnarumma probably one of the best keepers in the game itself, plus very tall, so it's going to be tough to get over. It's going to be tough to chip him. It's going to be tough to get round him. You're going to have to find that one perfect moment.
Just find that perfect moment, obviously, of course. With those tall defenders, the goalkeepers, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. So if you can get that moment where you catch them off guard and you can go around them, lob them, well, I guess it'll be hard to lob them, but, just find a way to break through them. They are going to be gone for a bit. We do see Cameron break straight through with his PSG team, but then Verratti coming on through, gets it in through to Messi, and Messi is, very on par with Kane and Son, I'd say, He's got the skill and he's got the shot, but he takes another shot there, doesn't quite go in. Lloris knocking it over the edge, going for a corner. Now we know that Embo was kind of struggling with set pieces last time, but doesn't quite get there this time and goes through. Kulusevski getting it out of the box, but Neymar bringing it straight back in. Mbappe is in that area he loved to be in that first game, but Højbjerg gets it out straight away, goes on to Kulusevski, who does a lovely little run up the edge there, goes all one and done, can maybe chip it through, goes for a shot, and just misses there. But amazing run, showing the more offensive play that is coming out from Embo and his Tottenham squad.
It was a great offensive strategy there from Embo there, but the problem was he took it too early. We saw Son coming from the back. If he just waited a little bit, he could have got that sweaty goal. It would have been 1-0 to Spurs.
Would have been a very, very good one. Now, sometimes you get a bit stuck in the glory, a bit stuck in the vein when you want to go for that goal. As we see, Kulusevski gets it back again. Kane is in a lovely spot, just gets obstructed though, and forces it back to Højbjerg. Emerson Royale gets a hold of it. Dyer gets it on up, and it goes all the way across the pitch. Perisic does get a handle of it. As it goes onto Bentancur, onto Son, onto Kane. Kane having a lovely little run. Gets it back to Bentancur. Bentancur can easily cross it in or go for a shot. He goes for the cross for a sweaty goal. Son just misses the header. Goes on to Mendes, who allows it to go through. Vitana getting it up there. And, quite safe here. Cameron happy to go all the way, similar to how we saw Embo go a couple seconds ago.
It was great defensive work there from Cameron, covering the back post to make sure that Son can't get a cheeky tap in. As we see, trying to switch the play up a little bit from PSG. We go to half-time. It's going to be interesting to see how they change their tactics, because Spurs, it's a change of aggression from Embo. Cameron, I don't think, has quite prepared for that aggression, but we're going to see if he's really just adapted to it and can push forward, get London that second win of the day. And yeah, we'll see where we go from here.
See, we go from here. Of course, there were no substitutions in that halftime. We just see the players went straight through. Probably happy with their squads they're going with. Cameron getting a bit more pressure on this side of the field, going straight forward. Messi gets a nice hold of the ball in a soft space of the area. Goes through. Bentancur gets it through to Son. Son, in a bit of pressure, has to force it straight out. But Kulusevski gets it in that lovely run position we saw earlier on. A lovely little pass over to Kane. Kane, you've done this before. You can do it again. It just misses it again. Kane not having the best luck in this day-to-day, to be honest.
No, it's weird. Like, you'd expect Kane to have much more of an attacking presence, especially 30 goals this season in real life. On FIFA, one of the best strikers in the game, some of the best shooting stats available to him. So you'd really expect just better shooting opportunities. As it goes through again, because we see a finesse shot, it gets in his own way.
gets in his own way, trips over the ball himself, and Messi gets it in a, well, not the most comfortable situations, but has Hakimi there to take him through. Messi gets it through again. Mbappe is in a nice space. We know what Cameron is like on this Mbappe. Couple defenders around him, but we saw that he could just quickly cut it in. Perisic is quite safe in the corner, taking it out. Bentancur gets it on the wing, and we could see maybe a lovely run. We see Son get hold of it, back to Bentancur. Bentancur just gets onto it. We see a few players in the box to cross to. Who will he go to? Or is he just opting for that long shot? Gets it through to Kuleveski. Kuleveski is really wanting this goal, just fumbles it, but has another lovely shot, hits the post, comes through to Son, who goes straight into Donnarumma. So an amazing flow of play there, but Donnarumma being there to be the saving grace at the end for Cameron and PSG as it goes straight back to the Spurs defence and is going straight back to where it was, maybe a possible second chance at goal. Kane getting on, flowing through, a lovely bit of skill, but Fabian is really stopping it. Bentancur gets it, Perisic gets it, back to Kane, back to Son. Son loves to take shots as far, gets it through to Højbjerg. Højbjerg takes a lovely volley shot and doesn't quite get it, goes over the bar there for a goal kick.
Højbjerg really isn't the player you want there. You really want a Kane or a Kulusevski. One thing I've noticed is just by switching into Kulusevski in this game, Embo looks much more threatening on the offence. See Kulusevski going through, just misses again. Donnarumma being that key factor into keeping Cameron into this game. It's still 0-0, so still all to play for with 10 minutes, roughly around 10 minutes to go. In game time, that is. As we see, trying through again. Kulusevski goes through, try and get a chip over.
Ooh,
No, Donnarumma covers that easily.
Donnarumma gets a lovely hold of it. Kulusevski really gagging for that goal right now and really wants to get it through. But Cameron is not letting him. And I think Cameron's getting a little bit sweaty, a little bit scared because of how quickly he dominated that first game. And, you know, we have Embo just putting that pressure on. Had that tit for tat with Josh. We're going like 1 goal for 1 goal. Then, of course, Josh got that cheeky little chip at the end. But really showing what can go on. Kane gets it through, though. Kane gets it into Kulusevski, onto Bentancur. Bentancur having his own little chance at goal this time, but is happy to go for a pass, doesn't quite achieve the pass. Verratti gets it on through to Messi. Messi gets it through to Mbappe. You know the story, everyone. But, of course, it doesn't quite end in the way they want to do. Son has a lovely little chip up. Doesn't quite make it. I believe that just went over the offside trap, allowing Cameron and PSG to have a bit of time to reconsider and just push things through. Or we could be coming close to the end of this game.
Yeah, that's obviously the end of the game. 0-0 draw there. I think that was just brilliant work from Embo to like come into this, go into penalties now, and I think this is going to be where PSG shine here because Donnarumma is just such a good goalkeeper.
Such a
Could
good
be
goal.
tough with the new penalty system. Will they know how to use them fully? No.
It's always really hard when you're playing the goalkeeper in FIFA for penalties because normally you're used to the keeper being somewhat autonomous, somewhat working for itself. So you got to actually react to it. We see Neymar going through and a save there from Donnarumma. No, that was from Lloris. Sorry, as Donnarumma is now in goal. With Kane coming up for his penalty and just a cheeky tap in the bottom. So
Well, I'm not sure Cameron exactly knows how to dive for these because these have been very simple saves. Like he's getting the right side every time. He's just not diving. It's 2-0 now. 3-0 now. That's surely it.
Yeah,
Spurs win on penalties. Can't really say that all too often. And that's the game right there.
That is the game right there. Cameron, of course, on our little picture-in-picture, looked a bit frustrated. Maybe, was maybe understood it, but wasn't quite getting time right, or just flat out didn't understand it. Spurs getting some lovely penalties. When as a Norwich fan, I quite know what it's like to see Spurs taking penalties, especially as in an FA Cup a couple of years ago.
Yes. Again, Spurs have a lot of good penalty takers. I think if Cameron actually knew how to dive, that would be a much different story. We possibly would be seeing them go into, say, like 5-alls. We'd definitely go past the original 5 takers. So yeah, going into this next game, it's 3-4 against, I believe, level 6.
Yep.
So yeah, both. It's another one of the sure shots. Lost that first game. Josh got the win with Villa. Will we see the same lineups? Be very difficult to see how both teams lay up going forward.
Let's see how they go. Yeah, definitely see how they go going forward because Sure Shots lost to PSG that first time around. Maybe just kind of was trick happy. Maybe they know PSG a bit more. They're like, oh, Cameron picked PSG, I'll pick PSG. So they might change teams up. They might even try and mirror Josh this time because sometimes there's that mental factor of if you play the same team as your opponent, whether that be a team they know is good or a team they're a fan of, they might get a bit intimidated, like, oh, I don't want to really score against my own team, or I don't really want to score against, all they know the tactics. So it's like, oh, I can mirror you, and then it takes that one mental step up of like, I'm trying to mirror you, I don't want to score against you, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. And you can take advantage of that. So we'll have to see. Of course, Sure Shots, it's got shots in his name. Could be seeing a few crackers of shots later. But Josh, on the other hand, went for all of his long balls and was a lot different to how Cameron played, where Cameron was really just throwing the ball at them. Josh was taking it very slow and finding the time to score rather than just wanting to score.
Yeah, it's a more direct approach from Cameron in that first game, so maybe Sure Shots is expecting the direct approach, which would allow for Josh, again, if they play Villa again, to maybe utilise the players like Luis Kamara, McGinn, to maybe just spread the ball around, find that key pass to Watkins or to Bailey, and just completely shatter the momentum of Sure Shots. Sure Shots obviously representing level 4s and level 3s. They're going to want to just bounce back from that early defeat, as we see PSG versus Villa is what we was expecting. So there's a big skill disparity when it comes to pure FIFA stats. PSG, obviously one of the highest rated teams in the game. Villa, mid-table Premier League side, so a lot of like low 80s, high 70s. So purely by stats on paper, PSG should just destroy this team. But it's whether Sure Shots is expecting a direct approach or a tactical approach from Josh going into this game.
Well, they have been able to watch each other play these games, so maybe he saw that there was a more tactical, more slower approach to it, and it's going to be like, okay, I'll play a bit differently. Josh also has that power he had where he played Young on the wing to play against Tottenham, so maybe he has a change that he can make that can play very, very well into PSG. Maybe it's another unorthodox player, or it's just going to swap things up completely and be like, I played Young to go against Tottenham. Maybe it was like a bit of a joke because you'd be like, haha, it's only Tottenham. But yeah, maybe he's going to be like, okay, PSG, this is a big, big threat. You got some of the biggest names in FIFA, some of the biggest names in football. Let's slap in the normal go-to 4-4-2 or 4-1-2-1-2. Just try and play it as super duper safe. And, it does look like our players, we haven't seen any changes yet. We might see when they come into the game itself, but that'll be one of the side factors, I think. I think Sure Shots just had it hard because it was the mirror. It was, just Cameron, his approach was pummeling goals, and he seemed to be playing it very slow. He played it very similar how Embo played against Josh. Just, I think, the team difference was there, and I think now it's going to be a tactical player versus a tactical player. It's going to be a very, very similar, if not fair, fight.
Yeah, we could see another low score and affair could go to penalties yet again. But this is one of those cases where, like, if there is changes from the Villa lineup, it could be like Cash and Digne to make a more defensive line. As we saw in the earlier game, they played very attacking players. We see Moreno on the ball, so that's immediately like, they do have Cash, but Moreno's off. Passing back to Martinez, slow and steady approach here from Villa. Just don't let PSG get the ball, would be what I say here.
Yeah.
As we see, go for a throw in. Cash takes a throw, gives it to Luis. Luis will play through to Cash. Again, slow approach from Villa. Don't waste any time, but also don't give PSG any opportunities to break through that back line.
Yeah, they're definitely not trying to waste that time as we see them going. Oh, no, Josh going actually straight on the offensive, trying to break the parallels that he had in the first game. Goes for a header for a shot, doesn't quite make it, and Donnarumma gets a lovely save. So, of course, Josh hasn't faced against this Donnarumma yet today, but, we know that Shots has played Donnarumma today. So maybe, let's just say against Cameron was a warm-up, Doggy Lives, bit of a warm-up, trying to play it safe to work things out. As we see, going straight into the box, we have Sanchez on the ball, going through to Verratti. Verratti plays it through to Neymar. Neymar wants to go for a score, doesn't quite get it. As I believe the old Elson...
He was just offside. Cash caught him offside. That was that key, like the change I mentioned beforehand. Just switching Matty Cash for Young is a more defensive option to them, because, again, adds more pace so we can cover Neymar better. As we see them moving up to Bailey, back to Cash. Cash provides that back and forth, box-to-box energy that you don't see from too many right-backs in the Premier League. So we're going to see how Sure Shots, that is, trying to see how they can cover that defensive box-to-box player.
Let's see how I can defend this. So they're doing quite well now. They're playing very close to their halfway line, which is very, very good for stopping Josh, who likes to go for those long balls. Because if you're holding him back, that's further and further and further away he's getting and can't go for it. But we see Marino comes on through, just goes for Ramsey, but gets blocked. Mbappe gets on the ball. Neymar is now on. Neymar has a lovely path to run through and a couple options pass to. Goes back to Mbappe. Mbappe goes through to Neymar. Neymar is quite clean, goes for a cheeky chip and gets it just in. So Shots getting that goal he was really wanting against Cameron and saying to Josh, you can play your favourite team all you want, but I'm playing PSG and we're going to dominate. As Josh is quick back to the action, but is going to have to think differently because he hasn't got that first goal this time and he's now on that back foot within the first half.
And you'd never want to be on the back foot against PSG because they get that one goal. There's very easily you can start flooding goals into 3-4 goals, especially if they get a goal going into the second half. Like if this goes to 2-0, there's going to be not a lot of chance for Josh to get back into this, just purely on a stats disparity. As we see Watkins going through, Watkins gets the goal. Curse again, back to 1-0, all even.
All even. A lot quicker than it happened in Josh's last game, obviously, because PSG have that dominance to throw it straight forward. But Josh is out for blood once more, goes straight ahead onto the goal, gets it to Watkins. Watkins passes it through to Marino, who's on the edge of the box, is forced a bit too far of his comfort zone, but Ramsey is there to comfort him. But it goes straight back into the PSG defence. Messi is able to run through and showing why he is one of these best players in the world. Runs it up the wing with Mbappe through to his side. Either of them can go for it. We'll see if it's a Sweaty. If it is, he goes for the shot. He just goes for it. Just goes wide. That curled an inch to the other side. That would definitely have gone in. And that would have been 2-1 in that first half, which would have been the first for today's action. But, it would have been a very, very good first to have. Because being 2-1 up, you can then put that pressure on instantly, knowing you have that goal comfort zone. As we see, it goes straight into session PSG for the second half of play.
As we go into the second half, we can see the game's completely opened up now. I think Josh has realised that the direct approach is really what's going to help him win this game. Because Sure Shots, I don't think quite knows how to handle just a full through balls, direct passing. Again, Watkins through on goal now, just needs to beat Ramos. Great shot, but great save from Donnarumma.
Yeah, Donnarumma just being that brick wall there. He let the other one in early because that was an awkward angle. It was a good shot that we saw Josh take. But you see Douglas Luiz is on the corner here, goes straight in, goes for a cheeky head, but Donnarumma is all hands on for that. Gets it through to Ramos, gets it back to Mendes. Mendes has very few options, stopped by Ramsey. Ramsey is able to just keep it on, gets it back to Matty Cash. Matty Cash goes to Douglas Luiz. Kamara has a few passes to go through, but wants to go all the way. Gets it through, but stopped in the tracks. Verratti, Vitina, Mbappe has the ball again through to Neymar. Neymar is caged in and is caged all but gets forced out. Goes to, back to Cash now. Cash on the edge of the box, again forced out himself into Douglas Luiz. Douglas Luiz gets it through to Kamara. Kamara to Marino. Marino has a few crosses in the box to go to, but stopped in his tracks by Hakimi. And is forced out to that edge side where I'm noticing that Shots is really liking pushing out Josh to the edge, making sure he's not able to get into that box quicker. Zatina gets it, Mbappe is on, and Mbappe has a few options to go forward to again, but stopped again in his tracks. So Josh is getting far, being stopped, and then Shots is getting far and then getting stopped. It's really in this halfway to upper third of the pitch right now.
I think we've faced a complete stalemate here where Sure Shots is just trying to run at the defence, is trying to just power his way through, whereas Josh is taking the more tactical approach to passing through, and neither way is really working to the abilities that they really want. So it's going to be key to see in the last 15 minutes or so in game to see how they adapt to the playstyles and whether we will go to penalties again.
I think it might be close going to penalties, but Josh is eager to make this not happen. With Douglas Luiz up the wing, stopped by Mendes in his tracks. A throw-in to Villa in a very dangerous zone. We've seen what Josh can do with set pieces from this close. He's thinking of his options, goes through. Watkins is nice and free, but is still caged in. Back to Cash, who crosses it in, goes straight. It was going to go for a head, but goes in. And a lovely bit of clash there in the box. Kamara is fighting for it, but goes on to Messi. Messi has that power to go through. He has options up the side, goes through. Mbappe is running on, but Mings is happy to just sit in front of Mbappe and just say, you know what, I'm doing it. But a very big slip up as Neymar gets a hold of the ball. A cheeky bit of skill, but doesn't go all the way of it as Cash is quite comfortably go through. Verratti stops him and keeps it in the offensive half. Verratti can just quite easily cross it in, but he's getting pushed out by Konsa. But Verratti is not caring whatsoever. Goes on through to Vitina, goes on through, takes a shot, a lovely save there, going for a corner. So I can see another PSG set piece.
There's a great chance there. This is really going to be their last chance to get that final goal to avoid penalty kicks. As we see Messi on the ball now in the box. Can he carve his way through? Verratti with the ball, great start by Martinez.
Martinez getting
If they
amazing
clear this
stop.
here, it's game over.
Neymar gets through to Vitinha though. It's safe. All the attackers are up, and Josh is eager to get it through. Gets it on through, but it does go to that full side whistle, I believe. So we're going to be seeing penalties again in Campus Clash within our first 3 games. You know, first four. Sorry, first 4 games. We're seeing another set of penalties and logging it in straight away. Let's see if these players know penalty mechanics. As we see, Messi is the first choice here. 4 shots, goes through and into the corner side of the net there. Nice place to go because the keeper has to go for it, and he could either go push it off or go nowhere. Bailey comes on in, takes a shot. Oh, save there.
By Donnarumma. We see both keepers go in the right side, but it's just that height advantage from Donnarumma gives them the advantage in any penalty kick. 2-0 PSG now. Watkins really needs to score this.
Watkins needs to score it. Watkins is known for his goals. He got a few good ones and just saved there. Donnarumma pushing it way over the bar and out. We see both players are eager. They're both ahead in the game. Another is saved. All PSG is actually missing out one. McGinn coming on through. Can he get it in? And it just goes
Third
wide.
save. Martinez really needs to save this if Josh wants to stay in this game. Gets the save. It's still 2-0. They need to score.
They need to score. Ramsey comes on in for some goals. Actually goes
Straight
straight down
down
the
the
middle. That's where every goalkeeper hates to see it because you naturally want to dive. You naturally want to say, okay, I'm going here. We see another one slightly off centre.
That's 3-1. PSG take the game. Sure Shots gets the first win of the day for the level 4 Giant Slayers. Good to see that as a level 4 myself. Always want to see, obviously, my year winning. So, yeah. All teams have a win now, I'm pretty sure. So we're still on that even bracket going forward into the next few games.
On an even bracket, the Giant Slayers really showing what they're called at as well. PSG aren't the Giants, so it would have been nice seeing Villa be the Giant Slayers. It's not something you think I ever see in real life, Villa facing up against PSG. Never say never, but, it's nice to see it in FIFA. But taking out those higher years, especially a lecturer as well. So,
a lecturer who won his first game, no less, in regulation time. Taking, obviously that first game was 2-1 win. Never really looked like he was going to lose it, but also never looked like he was also going to be that one close game. So taking that win from Josh is going to be so important going forward for Sure Shots in terms of not just the point standard, but also the mental game going forward for the rest of this FIFA tournament.
Yeah, it's going to be a big mental game, of course, especially with the match that is coming up, because we've got to see now, I do believe, I did see on our screen preview just now that it was possibly just Embo sitting down next to Shots. So, maybe that was just a bit of a bluff. Maybe they're just having a bit of a chat, being like, hey, well done for winning on penalties. Because, of course, both being in a penalty situation, they're probably a bit shaky. Maybe, we're both going to take the penalties when we play. And, that's something we have to see. It adds that little bit of tension to the end, especially in a competition environment where it's like, if I don't score these penalties, I don't go through. Especially if you're if it's a 1-1, 2-2, if it's 0-0, it's a bit bland. It's a bit like, oh, I haven't done much. You're a bit disheartened going into that first set of penalties. But if it's like your 1-1s, your 2-2s, and so on and so forth, they're going to be a bit more on edge. They're going to be a bit more like, oh, I'm really hyped for these penalties. If I score this, it feels like I've scored that 4th, that 5th, that 6th goal and taking it through. And especially in FIFA where the mechanics are a bit iffy, like in real life, a keeper can react suddenly. In this, you have one misjudgment, and that's game over. The goal's gone in, and you've got to hope you score or hope that you can get the next ones correct.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. They really want to avoid all these players want to avoid penalties in the next game. They want to get that win in regulation time because it gives them obviously more wins in the point standards, mental edge going forward for the rest of the tournament, and just it gives them a chance to change their styles a little bit. Like we saw in that last game, Sure Shots realised that maybe the tactical approach wasn't the best going forward. Maybe he should be more direct, and we saw that as he got the first goal, he led that game. So, yeah, the direct approach is working for all these players.
It is working, and it's working very well. And of course, we have seen on our screen here now, it is level 6, the Kingmakers versus level 5, the Flamebringers. So we have another set of Tottenham versus Villa action, I do believe. So we have seen this matchup already. So it will be nice to see if there's any change up.
Josh. So, yeah, level 5 versus level 6. Spurs v Villa again. Can we see, a change up in how this game goes? Because Again, that tactical approach didn't really work. Could we see Kulusevski make more of an impact? Like, because again, when they brought Kulusevski on in that game against PSG, we saw the more direct approach, and yeah, Spurs just generally looked like they were going to score more. And it just looked like a better approach going forward. Or will we see that revert back to the original style of playing, like a 4-1-2-1-2, pretty defensive strategy going forward? Or yeah, just going forward.
Yeah, it'll be nice to see what our players go for. Of course, we could see that switch up of maybe Young going back into the position where he was, or maybe Young didn't quite do what he wanted to. He had a good few balls going up to the top. He had a good few runs, but then with the talent we saw it have against PSG, I think that change up of squad might be a good application for Josh going against a Tottenham squad, because like he knows what similar to go for, but same for Ember. Like, Ember could change up, so it's that mental game coming back. What they've played already, it's Josh knows Embo can make changes to adapt to what he brought. But then Embo also knows Josh can make changes to adapt what he could adapt to. It's just that back and forth that you always see in like these second leg ties, like, especially in things like Champions League football, where you have those 2-leg systems where it's, okay, I've seen you bring this, you can bring this second time round. With Tottenham being, again, that bits and bobs team where it's like they have a tool for everything. They have, if they want to play a wider defence, they have players who can do that. They have players they can bring in, bring out to make it feel as if it's a whole brand new team without being too different. Often you have your Kane and your Son up front. Like, why wouldn't you do that? Of course, and then the middle can change a lot, and the back line can change a lot. Lloris will probably always be in goal. If I were playing for Spurs, I would never change my Lloris. Like, that is just the bread and butter for going into teams. And going in, I do believe our teams are ready to are all ready to go into play. Villa versus Spurs, the run back. Let's see how it goes this time, as our players are very eager to go into this game.
See, like with the Villa squad, like there's a depth to it. Like we haven't seen the likes of Coutinho play just yet. We have now, obviously, but yeah, that added depth to it that we need to see both teams utilise fully, because there's a player to counterpick every other player on both sides. As we see Son coming down the wing, trying to break through Matty Cash. Cash gets the ball and plays it out to Bailey. This is where Villa shone in the last game against Spurs. Bailey just breaking down the wing. As we see, hold the ball up and just slow the pace down a little bit. Constant move forward. Bentancur takes the ball back. Counter-attack now from Spurs. See where they go from here. Try and switch the play up.
Yeah, so Spurs getting it across, and we're seeing a bit of reverse we did in that first game, where it was the first time round these two players played, it was Spurs had the advantage, ran it through, then Josh took advantage of taking defensive play and converting that into defensive play, and we saw a reverse where Josh went forward first, and then we saw Embo transfer that into an offensive play, for Spurs. We see Perisic on the side here, getting it through to Son, getting it through to Kane, and Kane has whiffed all his shots so far. He goes for one, he whiffs it again, straight at Martinez, who gets a great save, but great goalkeepers always make these great saves. A corner coming in here. Could this be Kane's second chance? It goes on a lovely header, and goes into the back. Son scoring those goals we know he can score.
And that's the first time we've seen a goal from a set piece this entire tournament. So getting that short patch, it was a short lob, onto the front post, chip over the keeper, and it's 1-0 to Spurs. Son, not usually the one we'd see off headers, but it was a great goal from Spurs. Great through pass. Kane obviously missing the power shot, which is new to FIFA 23's hyper motion engine. Yeah. And again, big mistake there. Kane nearly breaking through. It's going to be tough to Villa to come back into this with those little lapses in judgment in that defensive line. Bailey on the wing now, crosses through.
Yeah, Bailey gets that cross in, but doesn't quite make it. And Kulusevski has that way to run through, and we know how much they wanted to score that last time. As Kulusevski is running on, has an amazing chance at goal, but just gets stopped in the tracks. Ramsey gets the ball in the middle, goes straight back to Spurs, though, with Emerson Royale. Emerson Royale gets to Romero, do a little 1-2, goes to Dyer, back to Romero, who has very few options directly in front of him, so has to go for a player quite far. But Watkins is able to get it from defensive play. Bentancur gets it, though, to Son, back to Kane. Kane back to Son, and Son and Kane are doing what they normally like to do in football, where they just go back and forth, and someone will get that goal. Kane gets on it from a misplayed defensive play to Bentancur, to Højbjerg, to Alex Moreira, who stops it. Ramsey is able to play it through now, and then Spurs had a very, very good rush there, but were stopped in their tracks as we see Coutinho, who's just come into Villa not too long ago, goes through to Watkins and makes a save. Lloris also gets a second save on that and a header out of the box. So a very, very dangerous play that has occurred there, as everyone had to have a chance of stopping that because there were so many fumbles in the box quite close to each other.
They both have to respect each other's offensive capabilities. Both teams are making defenses on mistake. You see the slip up there from Konza. Kane through, but Mings gets that stop. And it's something I mentioned before, like before we even started when we saw Spurs, is that Kulusevski is making such an important impact on these games. Like we saw that first game, no Kulusevski, not a lot of offensive capabilities. Since then, Kulusevski has been a complete menace to defences.
He has been absolute menace and has shown why he's done it. Not had the goal yet, but has been very important in creating these goals. As we see, though, Villa are having a good play. Cash goes up the side, but Son is able to stop it going through off to Højbjerg. Højbjerg gets it through to Kane. Kane is trapped in that middle there, so very few players, but finds Perisic on the edge there, who finds Son, who then gets to Bentancur. Bentancur pays it on through to Kane. Kane is stopped, but isn't going to end there. He is a fighter, not a quitter. Alex Moreno comes through, stops it. Ramsey gets a nice, comfortable position on the ball, but is caged in by players, but finds Coutinho quite nicely. Coutinho finds Watkins, and Watkins loves this position, goes for a shot, saved perfectly by Lloris. A dangerous place to go for a shot, a dangerous place to go for a save as well, but still made that save nonetheless. As Royale is now able to control the flow of play and get it to Højbjerg for Bentancur.
I believe that's one of those positions where if it wasn't 1-0 to Spurs already, he might have gone cheeky, he might have tried to go for the chip shot, which actually would have been more beneficial there, because it would have been able to chip over the keeper, tie the game up, and really just reset the momentum of the game. But Villa are coming out of the gates really hot here in the second half. Bailey through to Watkins, back to Bailey. Bailey will cross it in here, get the corner.
Goes to a corner, but we know what these set pieces are like. We saw a set piece goal from Spurs. Josh is probably one to replicate that. Goes for a lovely header, just hits the post, and I believe might be going for another corner there. Yeah, it is. So
another corner, similar way to how Embo scored with Son. It's another short lob pass to the front post. We see it scramble around, through ball to Son, one-on-one with the keeper. Yeah, this is
Son
another goal.
Loves these. He was given that. That was like taking candy from a kid. There you go. I mean, if it was a kid in goal, then that would have been an easy shot as well. This is one of those like super kids who can play under 12 and then can absolutely destroy the top team players. But we're not here for that. We're for FIFA, where Coutinho is now coming in from that kickoff. So Josh, is getting a bit of his taste of his own medicine. He's the one who's going behind for once, and we see that Embo, going ahead, might quite comfortably take this and get a win without having to go for the penalties. Bentancur gets it through to Son. Son gets stopped in the tracks though. Goes to Davies. Davies goes ahead. Perisic heads it back to Bentancur, who gets it to Kane, who gets it onto Son. Son wanting another one, goes for a massive shot, hits the crossbar, becomes straight back into play. Luckily swept up by the Villa defense. It is Alex Moreno to get it through on to Ramsey, who loves to play it through to Watkins, but Royale knows that's going to happen and stops it immediately.
So yeah, as we're seeing with this, how this game's gone, it's been a really disappointing defensive performance from Josh with this Villa lineup, because he's adopting more of a direct attacking approach. So maybe he adjusted his tactics where the defence plays a bit of a higher line to try and catch them offside, and it's just not working for them right now.
It's not working whatsoever, and we have seen this with how many goals have come through. A lot of goals have been we had the one from the corner, and we had a somewhat distant goal. So one was basically given to Son. The other one Son had to work for, and he could get a third, quite close, but Kane wants to grab that third. Doesn't quite make it, though. You see Villa are trying their best to even just pick up one goal towards the end. 'Cause, sometimes that one goal doesn't count. But Kane wants to stop that. Has an amazing run through. Gets into the box. One-on-one with the keeper. Goes for a cheeky chip. Does it just go in? It does just go in.
That's
so 3-0.
Surely the game now. Again, really disappointing defensive performance. It's just been complete domination from that front three of Spurs, which is what I mentioned beginning of the game. You really have to utilise those players to their maximum potential, because again, Spurs don't have the best defensive lineup. So if you get those goals early, you can just sit on your laurels for a bit. Great win there for Embo, second win of the day for them. Brings level 5 up to, I believe, the top of the standards when it comes to
I believe
wins.
they are, yeah.
2-1 record so far.
2-1 record. One went to penalties, but we'll scratch that off. A win is a win in football. So it's coming close. I believe it's 2 to the Flamebringers, I believe it's one apiece to the Kingmakers and to the Crown Guard. I do believe the Slayers are also one apiece. They're like one of them.
Giant Slayers are now 1 and 2 now because Josh obviously losing to Sure Shots on penalties, just lost 3-0 to Spurs. It's switching to that direct approach has really backfired hard on them.
Yeah, it has done. Like, I think they found their comfort zone playing against Cameroon PSG, and they found their comfort zone playing to another PSG team. And I think they got a little bit greedy going forth with going into another Spurs match, thinking I won it this time. But as I was saying before the start of the game, where both players have to appreciate that, they can go for a switch up, but then their opponent go for a switch up, so they have to then play for the switch up and the switch up, and then switch up that switch up, and it's like everyone wants to switch something, and that's just. That's just chaos because you're always trying to be one step ahead of your opponent, especially when it comes into the flow of play as well, where like you're having to react to that instantly. Like we saw a lot more of a defensive play coming from Embo, like where originally it was trying to attack Josh's defense with an offense. It was just go defensive, allow Josh to be forcing defensive plays, and we saw that one real chance Josh had to score was from when he had Watkins up front. Watkins getting through the defense, breaking through that very high up defense, breaking the offside trap. And then again from the corners. But those corners were quite easily thwarted. Yes, there was 1 or 2 corners coming from them, but it was still a situation where Embo was playing it perfectly of like, if I keep forcing it to the corner, that is a situation where you're then having less time to score. And with these 3-minute timers per half, every second counts when you're trying to stop your opponent. Wasting time, I don't know if you call it that, it's more a tactical use of time.
Yes, like the first game, they really utilised their time well because, again, the counter-attack just really worked out well for Josh in the first game. But ever since then, moving to a direct approach he's just switching things up, really for the sake of switching things up. And I don't agree that that's really the best use of, again, if they're just playing Villa players, I don't think that's the best use of these players to begin with on FIFA. You really want to be using the likes of Bailey and Watkins for their pace. So, based on the counter-attack, that is. Don't want to be taking too much of a direct approach because you will just get stopped very easily.
You'll be stopped very, very easily, and that's just the wonders of football. You can bring any team, any players, and there will be a counteraction to everything you can do, and that's just it's wonderful. Like especially in FIFA when normally you can take teams that are like normally at the bottom or like middling, and like you can say, okay, I'm going to bring this team to the forefront of everything, and be like, this is my favorite team. This is a team that I think will be quite funky to play with, and that can just be absolutely destroy. As we saw, Villa, took some big names there against Spurs, against PSG. We saw a PSG clash, and maybe just thinking we want to play the best teams possible, and we got some of our best teams possible here. Because I do believe we are cutting to a short break to keep ourselves and our players all ready to go into the future matches. Yeah, and there's probably some big ones coming up because we've got some of those big, wonderful esports ahead of us.
Yeah, we're gonna see great action going forward. We're going to see who can really take the momentum going into the later games, because obviously these players will also be playing the likes of Valorant and Siege. So can they take the momentum they bring from this and move, like, it could be different games, but can they take the momentum and move them forward into the other games?
That's something we'll see right after this break.